If you hate how slow running D&D can be sometimes, here are 3 things you can do to help speed things up. Now I'm going to preface that all this efficiency does come through the use of technology, so you can pick and choose whatever makes sense for you. Also, if you're a new D&D player, hopefully this will be a good starting point as well. Let's talk about the first thing you usually think about, character sheets. With character sheets, I like using digital ones, just because they're convenient. The UI is super helpful, pointing out different things that you need to worry about at any given moment. It's also super helpful if you're new to D&D or new to the class you're playing. Some options I would recommend are D&D Beyond and Dungeon Master's Vault. If you're starting out, you can't really go wrong with either, but D&D Beyond, I believe, has pre-made character sheets, whereas Dungeon Master's Vault makes you take a quiz. And once you finish the quiz, you do, it gives you a character sheet from it. And if you're adding homebrew content, DMV, people seem to agree, is like the more intuitive system. So this is D&D Beyond. This is what the page looks like once you're logged in, and you can go to create a character. And if you're new, you can start off with the pre-made character here and just pick whichever one looks cool. And if you want to learn more about it, you can click on the preview and see if you like what the character's about. There's also the Baldur's Gate 3 characters here if you want to roleplay as one of them or something. Yeah, so otherwise, if you want to jump right into it, you can, or still want some helpful text, you can click this one, but just go into standard. And yeah, you'll be able to just create your character. Also, if you wanted to add homebrew, you can go here and add like other people's homebrew stuff. You can create stuff as well, but this is where people are saying that, like it's not the most intuitive system for creating homebrew, but it seems to have pretty good options for what other people have created in terms of homebrew, but obviously you'll have to sort through whether or not it's good or not. And this is Dungeon Master's Vault. So here you can click on this like character builder for newbies, and this one, you do the quiz and it'll spit out a character for you to use. Otherwise, yeah, if you want to get into it, you can just go straight to the character builder, just start building a character. And if you want to add homebrew, you can add like homebrew to the content list, and also there's other stuff you can use to actually build your own homebrew. This is also a pretty intuitive system. I like the different tabs they have here. Makes it quite easy to read. And if you don't have dice to roll, you can just click on one of these and it'll just... Also, one thing I forgot to mention about kind of like setting up with these character sheets, and that's something that's another thing that's convenient, is with Dungeon Master Vault and D&D Beyond, is that you can, if you click in DMV, if you click on the view here and then you get this character link, you can give that character link to, for example, your DM as a player, and the DM having access to all the characters can, conveniently, whenever, just make content around these characters by looking at what they have. Another good benefit is that, like, even if you update stuff to your character sheet, it's automatically saved so that DM can access it, and they're given, and they have like up-to-date information. So that's something that I really like. Next up, we have virtual tabletops. This is super convenient when everybody was online, and it's still convenient now, really the theme of the video here. But I know some people don't like the idea of everybody having their laptops out at a table, but I think it's still a much better experience than doing it over a video call, for example. And even with terrain and like miniatures, they're cool, but it's not really viable for every situation. And even if you have one player that brings their laptop, they can, visualize they can connect to another screen and project the battle map, for example. And show it for the rest of the players, because you only really need the DM's laptop and then a single player laptop to see the tokens and where they're going. So I think that's pretty convenient. It's worked out pretty well for me. For this, I would recommend Owlbear Rodeo or Roll20. I've used both, but I personally prefer Owlbear Rodeo's simplicity. With Roll20, it comes with a lot of features right out of the box, but I just don't like the UI that much, so I don't use it. But if you feel like Owlbear Rodeo is too simple, you can try out Roll20. But also, Owlbear Rodeo offers extensions, so if you have some issue, you could probably look up some of the extensions they have, and they might solve the problem you're having. So that works for me because I have a bunch of extensions and they do the job that I need to. So this is Roll20, and this is the welcome page and what it looks like. Once you're in, I already have a game going here, but once you click on launch game, it'll just launch this. And I haven't messed around too much in this. Again, I personally not the biggest fan of the UI, but it does have more features. For example, like a chat feature here, and where you can roll, even a voice call functionality, and some of the other things, some of the other DM features here. But I've primarily been a player so far in Roll20, so haven't got to see much of that. But yeah, that's Roll20 here, and let's move on to Owlbear Rodeo. With Owlbear Rodeo, I mentioned extensions. So if you go here, you kind of see like all these extensions that are available, and I think let me find the ones I'm using right now. So I can show you this is what a room looks like once you have it open, but you can so you can have these. So yeah, I have my extensions here. These are the ones I'm using. So the dice, the colored rings for effects, stat bubbles to add stats to them, initiative tracker to any of these tokens. So pretty useful stuff here, especially like this die. Pretty simple system, like with even the ability to hide and show it off. I'm pretty sure Roll20 has the same features, but the simplicity of just adding these extensions, just putting them in and just working here is pretty convenient for me. So yeah, that's Owlbear Rodeo. Actually, a bonus tip that I was thinking about is thinking about like session length and prep time, because when I've played, I've realized that for me and my groups, 2 to 4 hours seems to be a nice spot, with 2 hours being the shorter sessions and then 4 hour being the longer sessions, and those kind of seem to be sweet spots for where sessions seem to like just naturally come to some sort of stopping point where you can pick up next time. And especially with like trying to get sessions through faster, and like everybody being busy and stuff like that, like 2 hour, when you can only make 2 hour sessions a week. One thing that does help for the DM though is that it'll mean that more people might be available for 2 hour sessions rather than 4 hour sessions, and also it's a lot easier to prep for a 2 hour session than a 4 hour session, so there's a lot less things that could go wrong from the DM's perspective. But I mean, I do like 4 hour sessions as well, but that's another thing you can experiment with. 2 hour sessions or 4 hour sessions, maybe even longer if your player availability makes up for it. But I think giving those things into consideration and thinking about, like, depending on the type of DM you are, how much time you're willing to invest or how much time you can invest into preparing for a session, right? So now for the last thing we haven't digitized yet, the campaign itself. Now, I love the feeling of like flipping through a physical book, but a lot of times when I'm running a session, it's kind of inconvenient and time consuming unless I've read the book, unless I know the book really well. So I prefer having a Google Doc for my homebrew, for example, or having the module, the digital copy of the module. And the biggest reason to do that, I feel, is to take advantage of the search function. The search function being the star of the show here, because in the middle of a session, if you forget something, you can just quickly look things up, and it keeps your session going smooth. So that I have a preference for using that. I mean, you can do all that only for the party to spend an entire hour trying to figure out where to bury the body. But regardless, everything I mentioned will be linked down below. I would love to hear tips you guys have on speeding up your D&D campaigns, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.